The government says that gamblers are victims, not criminals, so we must give them training, not punishment. Opposition say that rehabilitation is important, but accountability is equally important. Our goal is to make sure that offenders get rehabilitation inside the justice system, not a free pass. Punishment must still exist because gambling is a crime that harms both the offenders and society. My first argument will be why gambling is a crime. The government suggests that gambling should not be seen as a crime. Our first principle tackles this directly. Gambling is clearly a crime because it meets the basic criteria of criminal activity. The first one, gambling is an activity that individuals know is illegal, but they still willingly engage in it. When people does that, it's no longer an accident, it is the deliberate violation of the law. Gambling undermines government effort to provide legitimate education, employment, and economic stability. Most gamblers are not completely destitute. Many are workers who have disposable income but irrationally decided to bet in it. This directly supports fraudulent industry and discourage real effort. Third, gambling creates harm both for the individual and other. On the individual level, they fall into a systematic cycle of debt that is difficult to escape. That debt often pushes them into other crimes such as fraud or theft. To cover their losses on the social level, their families are exposed to enormous risks like assets are sold, children loses educational opportunities, and basic household security is destroyed. The government may argue that gambling happens because of poverty and lack of job, but poverty does not justify as a crime. Many poor people choose lawful ways to survive, such as working informal jobs, starting micro businesses, and seeking government assistance. If poverty is used as an excuse, then by the same logic, stealing due to poverty should also not be a crime, but society still punishes thief because it creates harm. Therefore, the debate is not about whether poverty exists, but what we do when people make harmful and illegal choice. My second argument will be why the opposition model is better. Even under the status quo, government already tried to address structural problems like poverty. There are welfare programs, job training, and even state rehabilitation center. These programs may not be perfect, but they do exist, and yet people still gamble. This proves that gambling is not only about lacking opportunities, it is also about choosing a harmful, addictive path. Imprisonment, therefore, is not simply blind punishment, it is the final accountability mechanism when offenders violate the law despite having alternatives. Importantly, imprisonment also protects society from second-order harms, while poverty reduce is also a long-term project. The law is an immediate shield that prevents further harm. For example, a gambler is jailed, their ability to continue gambling, commit fraud, or harm their family financially is instantly stopped. It's also wrong to assume that prison only punish. Many correctional systems they include rehabilitation programs such as therapy, addiction counseling, and etc. This means opposition model offers both punishment and rehabilitation at the same time, but government models only offer rehabilitation. And my third argument will be the risk of pure training, what the government policy fails. The government sides assume that skill training and social service will naturally turn offender into successful law-abiding citizen, but this assumption is unrealistic. First, no guarantee that training leads to job. Labor markets are highly competitive and job application process involve trial and error. Training may fail and secure to stable employment, which leads to frustration and potential relapse. Second, if they do find jobs, legal employment often offers less income compared to the perceived easy money of gambling because gambling offers the illusion of instant wealth. Many offenders will compare it to their lost salary and be tempted to return. Third, removing punishment creates false perception. Offenders may believe that gambling is not a serious wrongdoing, just a mistake that the government will fix, and the eliminates deterrence. Rehabilitation works best when offenders internalized responsibility, but that required an accountability structure. If we remove the punishment completely, offenders are treated purely as a victim of the system, instead of individual who must take responsibility for their harm and choices. That's all for me. Thank you.